Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. So far in Module 1, we explored the rise of symbolic AI, rule based systems, and expert systems. And by now, one thing should be becoming very clear: the world became too dynamic for handwritten intelligence. Now, this realization triggered one of the biggest transformations in computing history: the transition from rules to machine learning. And honestly, this changed artificial intelligence forever. Now, let us understand why this transition happened. In deterministic AI systems, humans manually encoded intelligence. Experts created rules, engineers designed workflows, organizations maintained logic trees, and systems generated outputs based on predefined conditions. Now, initially, this worked well, especially in stable and predictable environments. But eventually, the complexity of the real world became overwhelming. Now, think about enterprise environments today: millions of transactions, massive customer interactions, dynamic cybersecurity threats, changing market conditions, real time behavioral shifts, human language variability, global operational complexity. Static logic simply could not keep up because every time the world changed, humans had to rewrite intelligence manually, and that became operationally impossible at scale. Now, this forced researchers to ask a revolutionary question. Instead of manually programming intelligence, what if machines could learn patterns directly from data? Now, that single question changed the direction of AI permanently. AI systems would no longer depend entirely on handwritten rules. They would learn through experience. And this became the birth of machine learning. Now, machine learning introduced a completely different architectural model. Instead of rules to decisions, the architecture became data to learning to prediction. Very important shift. The machine started identifying statistical patterns automatically. Instead of engineers manually defining every condition, the system learned relationships from training data. Now, let me give you a simple example. Suppose we want to detect fraudulent banking transactions. In rule-based systems, humans manually create fraud rules. If transaction exceeds threshold, flag fraud. If location changes, flag fraud. But in machine learning systems, the model learns fraud patterns directly from historical transaction data. This was revolutionary because systems could now adapt to evolving patterns. Now, from an enterprise perspective, this changed everything. Machine learning dramatically improved prediction, recommendation, fraud detection, risk analysis, and behavioral analytics. Suddenly, AI systems became more adaptive, more scalable, more data-driven, and enterprises rapidly accelerated AI adoption. But another important thing also happened during this period. Data exploded. Cloud computing expanded. Internet platforms grew massively. Digital systems generated enormous information streams. And organizations suddenly had access to behavioral data. Data became the fuel. And this created one of the biggest transitions in technology history. We moved from knowledge engineering to statistical learning. This transition was not just technical, it was philosophical. Early AI believed intelligence came from logic. Machine learning realized it could emerge from patterns. Now, of course, machine learning also introduced new challenges: bias, training complexity, data quality issues, explainability problems, and eventually machine learning itself would evolve into deep learning, foundation models, and eventually agentic AI systems. But this transition from handwritten rules to adaptive learning became the foundation of modern AI. Remember, static systems depend on predefined knowledge. Learning systems depend on evolving data. And this difference fundamentally changed enterprise intelligence forever. Modern organizations no longer needed systems that merely followed instructions. They needed systems capable of learning, adapting, and acting autonomously. This concludes Module 1, the evolution of intelligence systems. In the next module, we begin exploring machine learning in much greater depth. Before we close Module 1, I want you to pause and reflect on something important. The world became too dynamic for handwritten intelligence, and that realization changed artificial intelligence forever. Because eventually researchers began asking a revolutionary question: what if machines could learn directly from data instead of depending entirely on predefined rules? That single question gave birth to machine learning. And honestly, that transition transformed modern computing permanently. So, in our next session, we begin Module 2, the Foundations of Machine Learning Systems, Module 2 video, 1 of 6, Class 7, the Machine Learning Revolution, where we will explore how machines started learning from data, how prediction systems emerged, why statistical intelligence changed enterprise architecture forever, and how machine learning became the foundation, deep learning, foundation models, generative AI, and eventually agentic AI systems. And I will see you in Class 7. Thank you, everyone. This is Shankar from SystemBaseLabs, architecting intelligence and engineering the future together. Good luck and goodbye.